Good morning, friends. Today is June 14th, 2022. And after a 2-week absence, it's time for Coffee on the Porch with Eric. Good morning, I'm Eric. This is my porch. It's super hot here in Texas. I have no business being out on this porch right now. Oh, but I'm glad to be back with you. It's been a couple of weeks, as I said. Welcome, friends. Welcome to anyone who is coming on in. I hope you will come on in. I hope you will find us. We are on YouTube now. This is a live stream that I do most Tuesday mornings. Oh, crap. I forgot my coffee cup. Hi there. Oh, my goodness. I've got a visitor. How you doing, John?
Barely.
Friends, I'm just started my live stream, and John Earl Taylor, retired Methodist pastor, is here. Hey, man. This is unexpected joy. Hang on a second, friends. I'll be right back.
Invitation last month.
Yeah, you did. Come on up, man. Let me get you a chair.
Oh, well, I hate to make you get up.
No, come on up. Come on up. Here, hang on a second. Let me get you a chair. Chair. I'm going to make you sit in on the live feed here.
That's fine.
Come on, man. Come sit right next to me. Right in this chair right here.
Okay. The dog is looking me over suspiciously.
Yes, as she is wont to do.
That's all right. I have a cat that lives across the hall from me.
Yeah?
And she gives me the evil eye.
Okay. Come on, sit down just a second, Alfie. Let me get you a coffee cup.
I could have brought my own. I started to bring my own, and then I thought, no, he'll have something.
I got him, man. I got him for you. All right, friends.
I just have an aversion for styrofoam.
Well, I get that. So sitting right next to me here is John Earl Taylor, retired Methodist pastor and friend to many of us who are clergy around here. I was still just getting things going here, man. The last thing I have to do is do this so I can see everything. You're going to get to see everything behind the scenes and just how chaotic and put together with duct tape this is. There we go. All right, let me say hi to some folks. Good morning, Robert Berger. Good morning, Nancy. Yeah, Daisy's here. Daisy's here. Good morning, Darcy. Daisy, she's never too sure about a guest. That's the thing, Darcy. She's never any guest. As you heard, what you just got was what Daisy does with every guest, which is that there's this initial, who is this dude? Followed by okay, well, if Eric thinks he's okay, then he's okay. Good morning, Linda Waring from Dayton, Ohio. Darcy says it's balmy, and so does Linda. Good morning, Carol Ann. And Nancy says we're on the big screen. Well, then we have to be professional this morning. So John Earl is as we said, retired Methodist pastor, and I just sort of said to him that he ought to come by some morning. He lives right over here at Juliet Fowler, which is in our neighborhood, in the hood here. And I said, man, come on by sometime. And so you took me up on it, man.
Yes,
I'm very happy about this.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we will just fold you into what we do here. The first thing we do, which cup do you want? Are you a UT fan or a Rangers fan?
Holes in it.
How about a Rangers cup? All right, man, let's have a little coffee. We're going to pour our coffee, friends. That's what we do, you know. That's the first thing we do here. Get you some, man. There's no cream. There's a little Splenda.
All
right, cheers, man.
With me too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's Coffee on the Porch, friends. We're back. We're back and we're live on the porch. Here we are. It's super balmy here in Dallas, Texas. It's been super, super hot. But it is time for Coffee on the Porch. That's where you are. I hope you meant to be here. And if you didn't, then welcome. Welcome, and I'm glad that you're here anyway as we get things to go. So, John Earl, I'm kind of glad you're here because in a while, I'm going to talk about annual conference and what happened there because some pretty cool stuff happened at annual conference, seems to me. Would you agree with that assessment?
I think I would agree with that as long as your rear end held out.
It's a lot of sitting on our brains. That's right.
That's right.
Good morning, Sally Hoover. Welcome to you. It was good to see you at Pride Parade and at Annual Conference. I believe I saw you both of those places, Sally. Welcome. All right, Nancy is going to make us all jealous. As you know, y'all know, Nancy Bryant recently moved to Fort Collins, and she says it's 61 degrees there.
I hate it already.
It's 82 here now and about 110% humidity. It's been super hot here in Texas. For those of you who are not in Texas and don't know this, it's just been really, really hot lately, wouldn't you say? John Earl,
yes,
wouldn't you say?
I would say that.
Yeah.
I've seen it before that's hot, but I don't like it anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I survived 1980. And that was the year that we had such a long string of 100-plus days.
I remember that summer, I was a high school kid, and I was working in a warehouse, an unair-conditioned warehouse all summer, and the air conditioning in my car went out. So I literally, most of the day, was living without air conditioning. It was rough. Good morning, Mike Workman from Tulsa. Mike says he missed us the last few weeks. I missed it as well. I did need the time off. I'm going to talk about the time off a bit. I did enjoy my time with the Curverts and with the annual conference. And good morning, Rick Lang. How's everything for you, buddy? How's everything for you? All right. So you guys know the first thing we do, which is we check in with each other and we ask one question. That's John Earl. I know you've seen this before. Oh, before that, a couple of reminders for you. If you want to be reminded of this live stream, if you wish to every week get a little nudge, 15 minutes before we go live, we will send you an automatic text message. If you'll just do this, text the letters COTP to 214-241-1814. 214-241-1814. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, no. You give me a pencil and I'll write it down.
I'll get it to you later. And you just text COTP, and then every week at about 9:15 you get a little text message reminding you we're about to go live. That way you can join us live. And we do want to remind you that we are now on YouTube here. We made that switch a few weeks ago. Good morning, Jan Murray. How's everything up in Preston Hollow? We want to remind you that we made the switch to YouTube a few weeks ago. And so do subscribe to my channel. If you see that little red box to subscribe, I hope that you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps people to get to know us and find us if you will do that. That's just a couple of advertisements here at the beginning. All right. And there's the channel. Oh, and by the way, right now, if you could, and if you would, share this in your own feeds. In fact, I'm going to attempt to vainly probably do this right now. You know, we got a lot of people that still know us from over on Facebook, and so it is nice if you would share this to your Facebook feeds. That's what I'm going to do right this second, if it'll let me, and it did. Oh, thank God. All right. I just shared that to Facebook. Hopefully you guys can do that as well. Okay, so you know the question we start with, the question we do. We breathe in, we breathe out, we get that cup of coffee, and we ask ourselves, how is your soul? How you doing right now? How you hanging in there? Everything okay in your world? Is Is it rough? Is it good? Is it what's going on with you? So I'm going to doodle a little bit on the guitar, and then, as you know, what you guys do is leave me a comment, and you tell me how your soul is. Just leave me a comment here. You've been good? Has it been okay? Has it been rough? How you feeling about the world? What spiritual stuff have you been into lately? What's been going on in the few weeks that we have not been together? This is a very dissonant chord set. It'll make sense in a while. Just leave me a comment. How is your soul? How is your soul? How you been feeling about the world? Good morning, Larry Pennington in Colorado. I meant to ask, have you and Nancy Bryan connected? You guys are close now in Colorado. We have a little Colorado subgroup that watches us. Good morning, Sherry. Yeah, Sherry's watching too. Trucks moving down the road, and it's super hot here. It'll get even worse. How about that, John? All right, man. Let's see what you're saying to the answer, to the question. How is your soul today, and what you're wanting to talk about? Let me move the camera down here to over here. All right, let me get a close up here and do this. Rick Lang says, my soul is good because I rode my bicycle Monday to work and then got home. It was 11 and a half, man. That's a good one. That's quite a ride. Oh, but then, oh my Lord, Rick. Rick says he had a friend that committed suicide last week in Mason. It's really horrible, Rick. Give me a call if you need later. Not obviously while we're on live, but later. I would love to talk to you about that. John Earl, Rick Lang, you'll appreciate this, is from Mason, Texas. That's where I did my internship at Perkins.
Okay.
And his grandfather was my supervising pastor. How about that small world?
A small world
guy
indeed.
named Tom Elliott, who was the pastor down there at the time. So I knew Rick before he was born, honestly. Okay, let's see. Rick, I want to come back to that, and we will hold you in our prayers and our thoughts. Linda says this, my soul is calm. This nerd has not missed a word of the January 6th public hearing and is feeling optimistic. That's been pretty interesting the last couple days, hasn't it? That's they're covering a lot of good stuff in that. And it's not anything we didn't know, but it's interesting to have the facts and the details behind it, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Larry says that he and Sherry are okay up there in Colorado. Robert, though, says that Debbie got COVID last week. We tested negative, so we're out of isolation. Good, fantastic, great. As you guys know, that happened here a few weeks back where Denise got it about 5 weeks ago now. And we isolated in the 2-story house. She went upstairs. I stayed down. It wasn't quite this hot yet, so we opened up all the windows and just had the attic fan sucking in good air for me down here, and then her air just kind of went up from her up into the attic, and it seemed to work. I didn't get sick either, so it was really, really great. Carol Ann says this, my soul is starting to stitch together now that I get to see and hear my coffee friends. Oh, yay. Glad to hear that, Carol Ann. Glad to hear that. I'm glad to be back, too. But she does say this, I am carrying perhaps too many burdens of my friends' hearts, the result of being a good listener. I'm sure you all relate. Yes, that's an occupational hazard that we tend to have, of listening and listening to others, and then you realize sometimes you have to lay that down and take care of your own soul, for sure. Yep. All right, Sally Hoover says she's very sorry to hear about Rick's friend. Cool music on a hot day. Good morning, Debbie Davis. Welcome. Glad you're here. Today is Flag Day. It is, and you probably can't see it. We got the flag right up here. There you go. Do that again while they can see you. Do your little salute again. Yeah, we got a flag behind us. Maybe you can see, and then our flag is just off camera in front of you here. But yeah, happy Flag Day to everybody.
It's already wrapped around the pole.
Yeah, I gotta fix that up. Nancy Bryant says this. Nancy says she doesn't know how optimistic she is about the 1/6 hearing. If it all comes down to Attorney General Garland, Giuliani may go to prison. Well, you know what? That would be, it's who knows what's going to happen. It's certainly, it's a fascinating series of developments that's happening out there. I'm glad it's being talked about. One of the things that we have as a problem in our society is we don't really talk about deep, important issues well and honestly. And I agree with those of you who said, yes, at least they're doing that right now. They're talking honestly about what's been happening in the nation, and we'll see where it goes. It's a rough time. It's a dark time. Okay, friends, I'm going to catch you up on what's been going on with me. As many of you know, 2.5 weeks ago, well, maybe almost 3 weeks ago now, I went down to the Kerrville Folk Festival. There you see a picture of me with my folk music friends, and we had a great time. That's me sitting in a circle. I don't know, that was probably about 1:30 in the morning one night, and we were playing music. After the festival, all the musicians go down to the camp, and we just sit around in song circles, sometimes to way, way, way late at night. I think I was up till 5:30 a couple of nights, John. One night I stayed up with two very dear friends, Joe and Helena, and we just sat up on Chapel Hill where they have the Sunday worship services, and we just sat up all night and watched the sun come up and just kept playing songs, just passed one guitar around playing songs to each other, and it was really, really lovely. There I am. These are the Erics. This is me and my friend Eric Schwartz and my friend Eric Gerber. There's another Eric, which I didn't catch in this picture, but anyway, there we are. I just had a lot of fun. I did not realize how much I needed to see those folks. It had been 5 years, 2 years before the pandemic since I'd gotten to go down there. So I was quite blessed and renewed to see these friends who come from all over the country, really, to go to the folk festival. When I got back, the garden is doing incredibly well. John, if you hang around after we get done, I'll take you back in the back, and I'll show you the wildflower garden back here in person. But there's a picture of it and how it's doing. And it's the cool thing is this big sunflower in the back there that's 6'2", and it's just beautiful. There's another shot of how things are looking. It's just finally come in. I guess June was the month for wildflowers, I guess. They were all a little bit late this year. Came back to last Sunday and the Pride Parade. All of our reconciling churches marched together in the Pride Parade, and it was wonderful. It was this is our Kessler Park crew, and we had a great time. I think there were 7 churches out there, and it was really great. It was a really great time, and there I am. Oh, I didn't center that picture, but there it is. That's me and the crowd in the middle of the parade, and I guess that picture's a little off center. That bugs me a bit, but.
Why weren't you all wearing hats?
Oh, well, that's, you know what, I can't, that is an excellent question, John Earl. We all should have been wearing hats.
Yes, you should have.
Now, yeah, so that was great. Let me catch up on some of your comments. Larry Pennington says, we've been driving to the top of mountain passes. Good time of the year to do that. Trail Ridge Road is open, I assume. Yes, and Mount Evans. Oh, fantastic. Nancy Bryant says Liz Cheney is really falling on her sword, putting country before party. What kind of world would we live in if they all did that, regardless of party? I'm just asking. I think we might be in a lot better place if they could all do that. Hey, Cornell Kindernecht, welcome, man. Welcome, buddy. How are you? It's good to see you. Cornell Kindernecht played with Connections when we did our Dan Fogelberg shows. It's really good to see you, buddy. Denise Zimmerman says, I'd love to go to Kerrville one of these years, have many friends in the folk music community. Yeah, it really is my tribe, I like to say, and it helps me deal with the church, John Earl. I know,
yes.
You know, to get away, right?
Right.
And get with some people outside the church. I remember years ago, one of my first DSs told me that. He said, you need friends outside the church.
No.
And I feel like the people who don't have friends and connections outside the church, they're the ones that really get themselves in trouble, you know, because they can't ever, they have no, I don't know how to describe it. They have no place to go when things get tough. So, well, it's good to hear you, buddy. I'm going to play a song here in just a minute, but I do want to, before I get to a song, I want to talk to you about our annual conference. John Earl was there. I gave him a ride home one night because literally, did you walk or did you, no, you drove.
I drove.
You drove, okay, yeah, that's probably best in the heat. But it's like 3 blocks down and 1 block over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super close. And annual conference, I just, look, there's a lot that's still wrong with our polity in the United Methodist Church. Kerrville is close to Mason, Rick, and, you know, it's funny. When I lived in Mason, I didn't even know about the Kerrville Folk Festival back in those days. So, yes, escape route, Carol Ann says. You got to have friends outside your profession. All of us do. All of us do. We have to be well-rounded, and we don't. None of us really do a very good job of that these days. But there's a lot of mess going on in the United Methodist Church. We are in the midst of kind of a divorce between the conservative group and the moderates and the progressives. Oh, that's a loud truck. The moderates and progressives kind of will end up, we think, staying together in what will be the new United Methodist Church. The conservative folks are going to split off. And here in North Texas, we've done a fascinating thing. So, did you ever serve on the board of ministry?
Oh, did I?
Did you? Okay. All right.
Long time.
It may not surprise you. They've never asked me to be on the board of ministry in 30 years. I don't think they want my opinion. But anyway, the board of ministry, what is the board of ministry? It's a group of clergy. Right now, I think about 40. And they are responsible for the process of interviewing and approving or denying candidates for ministry. They vote on them. They interview them. They have to write sermons, right?
Yes. And other theological
questions. Have to write a long thing of questions, like 30, 40 pages, and you guys have to read all that stuff.
That's right.
And And
for
then
one
they,
quadrennium, I was the registrar for the conference,
oh,
which meant all of it had to come across me.
so everything came to your office, and then you
Right.
had to disseminate it. Woo!
Right.
So it's a very, very intentional process. It can be super anxiety causing for candidates and time consuming for the board. Well, as you know, we've had these issues in the United Methodist Church with human sexuality and gay and lesbian people. And many times, gay and lesbian people have been denied the ability to serve, even though they are faithful Christians and very capable as pastors. In the past few years, we've had a couple of very courageous gay and lesbian pastors come out. Greg Neal, who is literally right over here at Lakewood United Methodist, he's come out, and Tom Waichis at Preston Hollow. And then, of course, several years ago, we ordained my friend Jane Grainer as a lesbian. They're all serving very faithfully in the United Methodist Church. There are some churches that like this and are very supportive of having LGBTQ pastors. Some probably aren't. And here in North Texas, we're trying to navigate a future where we can move into that more. And so we passed in 2019 a resolution that said we're going to live as a one church conference. We're going to live and let live. Even though the United Methodist Church said we're not doing that, we in North Texas are going to behave in that way and move toward that future because we feel like that's where we're headed in the future. That's what we said in 2019. And here, this year, our Board of Ministry has put out this statement, and I just want you to see this one little piece of it because it is really, really huge. Here is what the Board of Ministry has said, that self-avowed practicing homosexuals shall not be excluded from certification, ordination, or appointment, provided they are otherwise qualified. That means they still have to do all the interviews, they have to do everything everybody else does, but we're going to grant them a right to the process and not exclude them just because they are gay or lesbian.
Right.
It also says that in the context of the process of consultation, congregations should not be expected to compromise their theological conviction. This is a very important second piece of this. It acknowledges that some churches are not at this place yet. That's the heart of a live and let live theology, where it says we agree to disagree on some important matters. And that's always been how we were as United Methodists forever and ever, but unfortunately it hasn't been how we've been on this issue. And so I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think about this statement? It's pretty bold, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, it's bold, but I've lived through it before. In 1958, 1960, when we decided it was all right for women to be in the pulpit.
There you go.
And I'm so old that that's ancient history now for me. But, yeah, I think it's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Now, whether we can bring it off,
Yeah.
and I probably am not going to live to see it.
Yeah. Well, you never know, man.
I'm too far along the actuarial table right now.
Well, I'm glad you're here to say that you like it and like where we are, and it's an important thing. I mean, we did this before with women. John's absolutely right. We got to remember that when women were first ordained, there was a lot of resistance, right? It wasn't everybody just singing Kumbaya.
No,
yes?
no, there was a lot of resistance to it, and the people who make the appointments, what we call the district superintendents, they sweated blood over it because they were the ones that caught all the flack from the local churches.
Yeah.
And but we all survived.
No one died.
No one died, and as a matter of fact, now if you want to go back that far, I have a daughter.
There you go.
Who is ordained and is moving next week to a new appointment. So, you know, I'm right in the middle of it on both sides there and have no problem. And she has no problem with me and my ambivalence when it pops up.
Yeah.
I have no quarrel with what she's doing. Unfortunately, she heard me preach too many times across her growing up years. And sometimes that comes back to haunt me.
that becomes very personal to you.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
very personal.
If we hadn't made that choice, I mean,
Catherine has been the first woman in 3 consecutive appointments.
Yeah, the first woman lead pastor. And let's be clear, we're still having some issues with women. There are still some churches, even to this day, 50 years later, who sometimes say, no thanks. I mean, They may not say it out loud anymore, but you get the sense sometimes that women still don't have all the doors open for them that men do. All right, now this is going to be interesting when this dog comes by. Daisy may start barking here in a minute, FYI. But it's well, no, she's doing okay. It's very humbling, I think, to remember that history. And we're kind of doing the same thing with LGBTQ folks. They are very faithful Christians, very great preachers, and can do pastoral care, and we're just working through that same thing. And so it is that at the annual conference this time, we ended up ordaining a couple of new young LGBTQ folks, my friend Roy and my new friend Macy, a man and a woman. Roy is serving a church in New York City right now, and Macy's here in North Texas, and they're among 3 candidates that were ordained this time. So we now have 6 openly serving gay or lesbian folks in the conference. Look, this is not without challenge. The conservatives still don't like it. They think we're breaking the rules. But I think the greater rule is in our United Methodist Church that God is calling us to serve all people. All means all, as it says in our Constitution of the United Methodist Church. We are to serve and love all people. And so please pray for Roy and Macy and all those trailblazers. But not to miss, this is not happening everywhere, and it's certainly not happening in much in our part of the country. This is kind of a big deal that it's happening here. And so we need to acknowledge that we are really trailblazing here in North Texas in a way that a lot of other conferences aren't doing yet. And I'm super proud of us. I really am. I think we have a lot to celebrate. Oh, shoot. We just lost the feed. Dadgummit. Well, it looks like we're actually streaming still. Let me see if I can connect back. I bet it's not going to let me.
Do you remember what John Russell said when he was asked the difference between North Texas and Central Texas?
No, I don't remember. What did he say?
Well, he said in the North Texas Conference, they present proposals and petitions, and they discuss them, and then they take a vote on them. In the Central Texas Conference, they sometimes do that, but mostly it's like going to a family reunion.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Huh. Okay. I never did hear that. That's fascinating.
Well, John Russell was a quiet, I mean, he was not a crowd pleaser or a quiet onlooker, but
he was our lead. He was our leader and their leader for a time.
That's well, and their leader for 4 more years, because when they split
us up.
Area,
Yep.
He went with Central Texas.
Yep. It was right as I was coming in. He was my first bishop during the candidacy process. Yeah. All right. Okay, friends, I've lost, what's happened is we've lost the slides, but thankfully it's got a picture of us so you can still see us. I don't know what happened. Sometimes the connection loses, but we're still streaming. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few songs here in honor of it being so dang hot. Thought I'd do this Lyle Lovett song. Honey, put down that fly swatter. pour me some ice water. Would you bring me my hammer? Could you find me some nails? For I'll soon be going to work for this living, and with you here to guide me, I cannot fail. Ah, the morning it stumbles right in through the window, and this getting up early, it gets old anyway. But if you listen close, dear, the crying that you hear is the nighttime lamenting the start of the day. Here's the part about the day. It's hotter than concrete in July in Houston, and it'll get even worse here, before it turns night. But old Tink's in the backyard, and I swear that he's so smart. He's got everything ready, so we'll be alright. So honey, pour down that fly swatter and throw me some ice water. And though I'll still soon be going, well, I haven't gone yet. So come stand here beside me and hold my hand gently. Tell me, do you remember the first time we met? What do you think of that one, John? Honey, put down that fly swatter and pour me some ice water. I just like the rhyme. That's a nice rhyme.
Nice couplet.
That's called the Fly Swatter Ice Water Blues from Lyle Lovett. It's hotter than concrete in July in Houston. It'll get even worse until it gets nice. That is 100% right, my friends. It's where we are. It's summer. That's a song for the summer for you. Hope you're enjoying that. Let me see if you're saying anything. Let me check the chat here. Chat window. Where's my window? Oops. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. Yeah, y'all are saying you still see me. YouTube is still working. Yeah, I just it just means I can't show you the rest of my slides. I was going to tell you a few more things that happened at annual conference. Let me just talk about them because I can still talk about them. So we also, as you know, in the state of Texas, you've been watching the news, our governor and our attorney general have been kind of rattling their sabers about trans children and youth and families. And look, that's an issue that a lot of people don't really know or understand. When I was at North Haven, I would have gay men and lesbian women who say, I'm still not sure I understand fully trans people. So that's honest where we are. But they're really being made into these sort of political footballs these days in a way that's not healthy and that is very troubling to the families. So we had a resolution at annual conference that was presented by our friend Jeffrey Moore at St. Stephen United Methodist. I believe, Sally, you were at St. Stephen on Sunday, if I remember. And that resolution said two things: that we Methodist clergy in North Texas are not going to consider the support and care of trans children by their parents. We're not going to consider that child abuse, theologically, spiritually. And two, that we are going to be safe places for them. Even if we can't understand fully somebody else's journey, we as the church should and could be a safe place. And so we voted on that, and that were you there? Yeah, yes. You were there. And that passed by 99% of the roughly 600-700 delegates in the room. It was unbelievable. I think maybe 5-10 people didn't vote for that. Were you surprised by the overwhelming nature of that vote?
Yes,
I was too.
There were some of the people, and one or two of them had the audacity, I think, to speak out.
Yep.
And that was surprising, because so often in that situation, people who are opposed to it just sit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was really surprised as well. I kind of thought it would pass, but I didn't expect it to pass by 98, 99%. I mean, friends, it was overwhelming. So our bishop did a beautiful thing after that. He led a prayer of support for our trans families. And in the day after annual conference, he wrote a cover letter to go along with that resolution. We have sent that resolution to the state CPS authorities so that they can understand where we are theologically and spiritually. We understand the law is one thing, but we as people of faith, it's the good kind of overwhelming, as Carol Ann says, overwhelming vote. This is where we are, and it's a very hopeful thing in the middle of Pride Month to be able to share this kind of news with people. So I was very proud. That means that a lot of rural people, a lot of rural pastors, people that live in very deep red counties, very conservative counties, that means they voted for this. And I think that tells you something very hopeful. We don't all have to be in the same place. We don't all have to understand each other to be able to be the church and love all God's children. That's the bottom line. And I think that's what that kind of resolution says.
Well, and the families are the unfortunate objects of the fallout.
100%.
And to express support and love for the families.
100% right. Yeah, they really, as I like to say, they've been used as political footballs.
Still are.
Still are. And anytime that happens, we've done that with immigrants before, where we've made immigrants seem like they're just demons and evil and causing every problem in society. We tend to do this, don't we, John,
yes.
as a species. This is not, the church does it too, which is super unfortunate. But I think the church does it because it's a human problem that we have. It's a human problem of tribalism. We're tribal as people. We like to divide into us versus them. We're good, they're bad. And we divide that, we used to do it with the U.S. and Russia, and that doesn't mean that other countries and nations don't do things we need to stand up against. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that we divide into this kind of a tribalism that puts the us versus them, and then we beat up on the them. And we act like they are instead of acknowledging our own sin, we would say theologically,
right,
our own problems, we project all that onto others. By the way, as I've said this many times on Coffee on the Porch, that's kind of what they did to Jesus. Projection and putting everything onto him. And of course, I think the resurrection is a symbol of how we're not supposed to do that. That's God saying to us, don't do that anymore. Don't scapegoat people.
Well, yes. And nobody knows exactly what God is thinking at
Right.
this point. What we do know is how we are relating to each other in the midst of what we call God's kingdom.
There you go. Great way to say it. I am not following that story, Nancy. Tell me more about what's happening with that story. So the other thing that happened while I was gone was the shooting in Uvalde. And boy, so much is going on with that. We could spend a whole other hour talking about that. I will just tell you, as I said in Sunday in my sermon, that shooting really, really shook me. Because it was so close. I know we've even had other shootings in Texas, but my college roommate is from Uvalde, and I called him the day of the shooting. I texted him, and I just said, "How you holding up?" And he said, "I know." He said, "I know every family, John. He knows every family that lost a child, and the teachers, the superintendent of the schools was a high school friend of his." So, I mean, just the closeness of that really kind of just shook me in a way that is really troubling, and I'm still wrestling with this personally. Being away helped me some. I'm encouraged by what's going on, that we may have some movement on reasonable control of firearms, which clearly the vast majority of our public wants, but we can't seem to get done. So I wanted to play another song today, and John, I don't know how you're going to feel about this one, but this is, I hope I can get this one done. This is actually hard to do. Oh wait, I think I did it, Capo 2. We just talked about scapegoating. How we're always not really looking at the real problems, but blaming other people, blaming other things. This is a song by the great Cheryl Wheeler. Unfortunately, this is a 24-year-old song. Oh, but it's just as relevant today. I may not be able to get through this, but... Maybe it's the movies, maybe it's the books, maybe it's the bullets, maybe it's the real crooks, maybe it's the drugs, maybe it's the parents, maybe it's the colors everybody's wearing, maybe it's the president, maybe it's the last one, the one before that, what he done, maybe it's the high schools, maybe it's the teachers, maybe it's the tattooed children in the bleachers, maybe it's the Bible, maybe it's the lack, maybe it's the music, maybe it's the crack, maybe it's the hairdos, maybe it's the TVs, maybe it's the cigarette, maybe it's the family, maybe it's the fast food, maybe it's the news, maybe it's divorce, maybe it's abuse, maybe it's the lawyers, maybe it's the prisons, maybe it's the senators, maybe it's the system, maybe it's the fathers, maybe it's the sons, maybe it's the sisters, maybe it's the moms, maybe it's the radio, maybe it's the road rage, maybe El Nino, UV rays, maybe it's the army, maybe it's the liquor, maybe it's the papers, maybe the militia, maybe it's the athletes, maybe it's the ads, maybe it's the sports fans, maybe it's a fad, maybe it's the magazines, maybe it's the internet, maybe it's the lottery, maybe it's the immigrants, maybe it's taxes, big business, maybe it's the KKK and the skinheads, maybe it's the communists, maybe it's the Catholics, maybe it's the hippies, maybe it's the addicts, maybe it's the art, maybe it's the sex, maybe it's the homeless, maybe it's the banks, maybe it's the clear cut, maybe it's the ozone, maybe it's the chemicals, maybe it's the car phone, maybe it's the fertilizer, maybe it's the nose ring, maybe it's the end, but I know one thing. If it were up to me, I'd take away the guns. I'd take away the guns. I'd take away the
guns. That whole song down to the last two lines.
Yeah.
Before you got to the singular.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
something, right?
All the rest of these people are the ones we've criticized and turned up our nose and screamed about. The last two lines include us.
That's right. That's right. That's 100% right. 100% right. But that's that scapegoating I was just talking about, right?
Yep.
This is a whole song about scapegoating and how we're always blaming other folks. We're always blaming other people always, the name of that song, have you ever heard that before, Nancy? Isn't that a great song? That's called If It Were Up to Me. If It Were Up to Me. And it's by Cheryl Wheeler. She wrote that song, this is how old that is, after Columbine, after the Columbine tragedy. And, of course, hoping, against hope, that we would act on things. And look, I want to be clear, she's got a very hard piece in there where you just take away all the guns. I'm not personally for that. I do think we have documented evidence that when we had an assault rifle ban, we had a decrease in mass shootings. That is factually, provably true.
And that's 94.
That's right. That's right. In the 90s, for about 10 years, we had 7-10 years, we had a ban on assault weapons, and documentedly, mass shootings went down.
Yes.
And so there are things we can do. We have already proved it factually. We just can't, as a society, seem to get there through our law and through our resolve. And I hope that some of these things they're talking about now that they'll do, and I hope they'll do even more than they're talking about now. We live in Texas. You have any guns? I don't know. I didn't ask you this ahead of time. You have guns?
No.
No. Well, I mean, I know a lot of people who do. We talked about Mason earlier. Down in Mason, everybody's got a gun rack, and they got a gun in their gun rack in their pickup truck.
That's right.
Because it's hunting area. There's deer. Half of the economy in Mason. If you're still here, you can chime in on this. Everybody loves hunting. I went hunting when I was there. It's fun. It's interesting. It's fascinating. But they have a respect for firearms there. They have a respect for keeping them safe and locked up and keeping their ammunition away from their guns. Everybody I knew in Mason respected their guns in a way that I'm afraid many people in the city don't, and particularly all these people who are so proud of their automatic weapons. So anyway, friends, Rick used to work. This is how big deer hunting is in Mason. Rick says that when he was down there, he used to work for a deer processing place. How about that? Oh my goodness. I failed to mention Tulsa. Thank you, Mike. Mike said that he knew personally 3 out of the 4 victims of the June 1st shooting. Yeah, that brings it home too, doesn't it, Mike? These shootings are getting close. I mean, I think I have a fear that eventually all of us are going to know somebody who's a victim of a mass shooting if we don't change this madness. John, Nancy wants to see what's on your shirt. You think you can pull it down a little bit? And I can't get the camera any closer, but let me.
Well, you may have to read it then.
Okay, it says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever." Juliet Fowler Communities. Okay. That's from Psalm 118.
And Juliet Fowler has the shirts, and every so often just everybody gets one. Mm-hmm. And they're all different colors.
Oh, cool.
So you almost know which era it came out of.
You can tell when somebody moved in?
Yeah.
Okay, fun. Well, friends, it's been a good morning. John, I'm really happy you came by.
Thank you. You were talking about the shootings.
Yeah.
Sitting here in this idyllic situation.
Yeah, good, yeah.
We're just waiting for somebody to drive by.
Yeah.
Or shoot.
Yeah.
And
why don't you just drop it there, because the dog's going to freak out. I'll pick it up in a minute. We got a delivery happening right now. Just put it right there on the sidewalk, will you? No, right on our sidewalk. Yeah, on the other side. Yeah. Good. Just leave it right there. That's good. The dog will really freak out. Yeah, that's fine. My wife's getting some clothes. Denise is getting some clothes that's being delivered, and I know if Daisy, if he comes up here, Daisy will. All right, I'm sorry, John.
That's
you said
no
in this
problem.
idyllic place we are right now. I knew where you were going with this.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
I mean, what's to keep somebody from driving down this
Right.
street, 100% residential,
Right.
and blowing at us?
Right.
I mean, it's gotten almost to that point
Right.
now where you're afraid to open your front door.
Right. And we should say here in Old East Dallas, we have shootings some nights.
Oh,
I hear
goodness,
gunshots.
yes.
Hear gunshots happening. Oh, I'm sorry. Daisy made your dog bark. Sorry about that. Yeah. And you probably don't know this, but when we first moved in here in the mid-'90s, we had 2 drive-by shootings just down the street. 3 doors behind us, there was a gang kid that lived there. So this is a long-term problem. My own heart, there are all sorts of things we probably should do about guns. We should, I really believe, look at these assault weapons, because these mass shootings are the major trauma for society, and they affect everybody they obviously ruin the lives of dozens of people at a time, but they also have the effect of really chilling society in a way that's very, very troubling. So I really want us to I hope we can do something about that, and obviously background checks that 70-80% of Americans support background checks. That's factually true.
Yeah,
that means a lot of gun owners support them, and for some reason we hadn't gotten it done. So
I mean, you wouldn't go deer hunting or dove hunting with an automatic weapon.
No,
like
you
that.
wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Because first of all, you'd kill the
yeah.
object,
But
there wouldn't be enough object left
Yeah.
to identify.
Oh my goodness, I think we're getting another delivery. Oh my goodness. Well, this is becoming fun. This is what happens at Coffee on the Porch, John, is you never know what's going to happen. You know, delivery people come, and sometimes we got work going down the street. Let's see if this guy's coming to us. Hey man, why don't you just leave it with the other one right there? The dog will freak out if you come any closer. Yeah, thank you, man. All right, well, very exciting as it always is here. Live streaming. You never know what's going to happen. So this is Coffee on the Porch. I can't tell you about our 2 songs today because I lost the slides, but I will review them for you. The first song was Lyle Lovett's Fly Swatter, Ice Water Blues. The second was Cheryl Wheeler's great song, If It Were Up to Me. Google that. It's on her Sylvia Hotel record of 1999. Very old song there. Check those 2 out. Really, summer is here. We know that people are traveling. We're trying to build our audience here on YouTube, so do please keep telling people about it. Please share this on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or other social media so people can come and join us. Debadget asks, will Coffee on the Porch come back? Yes, we are here every Tuesday morning, except when we're not, here on the porch doing the live stream. And so I can't end in our normal way, but I will end it here. And I will thank you, John, for coming by and sitting with me. This was a real joy. What'd you think?
My pleasure, and I'm delighted to see, because I don't understand all of this stuff you're looking at.
Yeah. Well,
I'm too old.
It's the behind the scenes everything that makes this happen.
Yeah.
So, friends, be safe, breathe in and out, take a little time, sit on your porch, connect with friends, come see us at church. Oh, I did remember one more thing. I had a slide for. Speaking of guns. Oh, we're not going to get a third. No. Okay, good. They're coming by. Speaking of guns, tonight at 7 p.m., there will be a community meeting in Oak Cliff near the church, near Kessler Park, called Keep Our Schools Safe. I believe Safe Schools, something like that. I'm sorry I don't have the slide with me. But this has been organized by my friend Rafael Anchia, Representative Rafael Anchia, Representative Jessica Gonzalez. They have organized this. DISD trustees, head of school security will be there, and so please feel free to come. It's an open community meeting for people to come and express their feelings and concerns about keeping our schools safe. I am praying for the gathering at the beginning and there to provide spiritual support. I'm honored to be an official part of that gathering tonight. Community meeting, Rosemont Elementary in North Oak Cliff, 7 p.m. tonight. I really forgot about that.
And
Okay.
it's not very far from right here
No.
to the nearest elementary school.
That's right.
which
It's
is
2
right
blocks.
there.
2 blocks down literally down the street.
That's right.
Robert Berger says, "Can you put on a Facebook post if it were up to?" I don't understand what that means, Robert. I'm sorry. I will put up a Facebook post. I posted it to my page as we started, so hopefully you can do that as well. There should be a link as we are live. There should be a share button that you can use to post it to Facebook while we're live every week. All right, friends, again, as we said, thank you for being here. Thank John for being here. This was a joy for me to have you sitting in with me today.
Thank you.
Grace and peace to all of you. Until next time, we will see you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, let's see here. We'll give it a minute. Okay.